under pressure to say sorry.
It would be best for an apology to be given.
I believe that she is owed an apology.
I would welcome that apology.
The PM today stopped short.
I regret any distress that strong language may have caused to her. That was not my intention.
Refusing to concede that strong language,
she can go,
may have made Christine Holgate's position untenable.
I don't accept that. The position was that Christine Holgate would be able to stand aside while that review took place.
And rejecting Holgate's assertion that gender played a part in her treatment.
You're absolutely right, I do.
This issue wasn't about gender. This was about taxpayer organisations handing out Cartier watches to well-paid executives.
Meanwhile, on the other political fire front,
Scott Morrison had just one job this year. It was to get the vaccines right, and it's been bungled.
The answer to our vaccine woes? A prime ministerial backflip on mass vaccination hubs.
I'll be talking and working with the states to look at the options for mass vaccination, firstly in the instance of those aged between 50 and 70 and the AstraZeneca vaccines that we have available.
And twice weekly national cabinet meetings.
Full on double
cabinet.
Oh my God, it's a double
cabinet.
Oh my God.
Double the frequency, double the Skype hookups, double the fun.
That's what the meetings are for.
Woo!
What he's doing here is trying to spread responsibility, spread political risk, point fingers in different directions.
The PM declaring we're on war footing as he called in the reinforcements.
Under Scott Morrison, we'll meet them on the beaches, we'll meet them on the phone hookups.
Well, Karen Middleton is Chief Political Correspondent with the Saturday paper and she joins us now. So, Karen, did double Nat cab meetings equal double results?
I think double meetings always brings a better result, don't you, Lisa? I find that all the time. Look, to be serious, no, not necessarily, but there is a good argument for involving the states a bit more and the territories a bit more in this because they are actually the jurisdictions that roll out health services. The federal government doesn't have the infrastructure and it doesn't have the experience, and so it's probably a good idea to get the states and territories more engaged.
Well, how are these meetings with the premiers going to help with, say, other things like getting our hands on the Pfizer vaccine, the blood clotting issues at the moment and those things?
Well, it's a good question and it probably won't necessarily help with supply and all that sort of thing, but it might help with the rollout at the other end. If you want to be cynical about it, it probably also allows the federal government to blame the states a bit more if the politics go bad again, which they have in recent times. So, a cynic might say there's a political fallback for them there as well.
Did that answer register with you, or were you too busy taking the compliment about how good it was?
I was pretty happy that I got a good question. A little fist pump from me.
Good sense. And then I saw you just drift off.
Yeah, exactly.
Screamed about that Walkley. Karen, the mass vaccination sites is interesting. The government sort of refused this for a long time. I don't know why it was so resistant. It seems a bit of a no-brainer. Why the about-face?
Well, again, I reckon they refused it because the states would have to run it and they're very big on taking the credit where they think the credit is due with a good news story like getting everyone vaccinated. But it is a bit of a no-brainer in terms of efficiency and getting large numbers of people vaccinated, particularly when you get to the next phase and the sort of back end of the vaccination process when you're getting younger people, fitter people who are more easy and are not going to need consultations with doctors. For ease of access and for efficiency, a big hub in a major city is probably a smart idea.
What are the chances of the term vaccination coming into regular vernacular? Because mass vaccination is just too long, I would say.
Karen, I'm so sorry about Andy's overconfidence.
Have I undone my good work from the first
time? He complimented you once and you just went too far,
It went straight to his head.
It did, didn't it?
Has any guest ever answered by, that's a terrible question?
You're welcome to that one.
Karen, moving along, let's talk Christine Holgate. Early in the show, our former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull didn't hold back. What did you make of our current Prime Minister's non-apology today?
Well, it was a bit of a convoluted non-apology, wasn't it? And it was a bit of a surprise to say if she was offended and hurt and upset by what he said, then he was sorry. I fail to see how you wouldn't be offended and hurt and upset with somebody saying you need to leave your job on the floor of the Parliament. So he's done one of those half apologies, which is sort of regret but not sorry. I have a funny feeling this thing isn't going to go away, though. Christine Holgate was pretty determined yesterday there in her white suit with her colleagues in front of the Senate committee. She looks like a woman that has decided she's not going to be toyed with, and I suspect she is going to hold her ground. She has, of course, said she hasn't resigned, and the government has said she has and is appointing someone else. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see lawyers at 10 paces pretty soon.
Karen, thanks so much. Always good to get your insight.
Nice to see you.
Good answer, Karen, before we let you go. We're off to a break. We'll see you very soon. From expert opinions to in-depth analysis and reporting, the Project YouTube brings you the biggest stories from Australia and around the globe. Hit the subscribe button now for news delivered straight to your feed.